I'm Susan Adelizi Schmidt, President of Suasion Communications Group, and you're watching South Jersey Business with Joe Molyneux.
Welcome to South Jersey Business with Joe Molyneux. Thank you for joining us as we share information, tips, and techniques that can help make our business community and your business more successful. Thank you to Stockton University for the opportunity to produce this show focusing on business in South Jersey. On today's program, we will talk with Susan Adelizi Schmidt, President of Suasion Communications Group in Somers Point and a new office in Haddonfield, New Jersey. Susan will share her entrepreneurial story as well as her experience and knowledge of business communications. I've had the privilege to know Susan for many years, and for as long as I've known her, she has always possessed a determination and drive that has resulted in success. Stay tuned for our conversation with Susan Adelizi Schmidt, President of Suasion Communications Group, and more on South Jersey Business with Joe Molyneux. Welcome back to Business. Thanks for joining South Jersey Business with me, Joe Molyneux. Please welcome our guest, President of Suasion Communications Group, Susan Adelizi Schmidt. Susan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for inviting me, Joe. Great to see you.
When did you start your entrepreneurial career?
Well, my career actually started when I was a kid. My parents owned a motel, a small motel in Wildwood Crest, so I was helping out along with my brother and sister and doing everything that needed to be done, cleaning rooms, greeting guests, all that sort of thing. And it just really stuck with me my entire life. I knew I wanted to get into business on my own, even when I was a kid, and just really happy to be the owner of Suasion now for the last 10 years.
Yeah, congratulations on that milestone. I know you have a communications background and your work and degree work is in communications, but how has that helped you in running the business?
Well, every single day we are working with clients in a variety of ways. So it could be from a public relations standpoint, if they need a marketing plan, if they need social media, digital marketing. So communications it's a much larger field than it ever was. So we're integrating that into every strategy that we work on every day at Suasion.
Now, I know a lot of people are curious. You got to name your own business, of course. How'd you come up with the name?
Well, if you look at my name, Susan Adelizi Schmidt, and you look at the word Suasion, you will see many of the letters carry over from my name over to the name of the business. And it took a little while. I was tinkering with a few different variations, and when I saw the word Suasion, it really hit me, and it stuck. So I've been using it ever since, and it's really served us very well.
Well, it really fits what you do because you can do so much with that end of that word, suasion, persuasion, and a lot of the other things that make public relations and marketing such a big part of what you do. You have a number of team members over there. How do you motivate your team? What do you do to keep the team motivated? Because it is a fast-paced world you live in.
Absolutely. Well, I have an awesome team, first of all. So when you get great people on the bus with you, it just makes the bus ride that much easier, as you well know. I have terrific people I'm working with. They are already highly motivated. I think if you're working in this industry, you have to be passionate, you have to be excited, and my team definitely embodies that. I think I do as well. I live it and breathe it 24/7, and it never feels like work. I'm doing this all the time, and I've been doing it my whole life, and I really, really enjoy what I do.
Well, speaking of keeping people motivated, because you live in that digital world and you work in that fast-paced world of changing social media as well as other outlets that you use, how do you stay current in those areas?
Well, reading, always looking at what's next, reading as many marketing journals and updates as possible. I also teach. I teach at Stockton University. So when you're teaching at night and you're a practitioner by day, that really does keep you on your A game.
I want to thank you for sharing some of your background, and I'm looking forward to the rest of our conversation. We'll be right back with more Business Talk with Susan Adelizi Schmidt, President of Suasion Communications Group in Somers Point and a new office in Haddonfield, New Jersey. We are back with Susan Adelizy Schmidt, President of Suasion Communication Group. Susan, can you talk a little bit about the services your business provides clients?
Sure, Joe. So we're a full service agency. We offer everything from branding, public relations, marketing, digital marketing, social media, website design. We have a whole different array of clients in terms of what their needs are and what the types of clients are, municipalities, hotels, professional businesses, financial institutions, universities. And we just adapt to whatever it is they need. If it's a full-scale campaign or if it's just a website or a brochure, we can serve them in any of those capacities.
Clearly, you take the term full service seriously,
Yes.
and you do a great job with it.
Thank you.
How do you define success?
Well, I think success really is defined by each individual. I think for myself, it's being excited and passionate about every aspect of my life, from business to community service to my family life. I have two wonderful children who are the lights of my life, so they really do get me very excited and love being a part of watching them grow. I think, it really comes down to what you're passionate about every day, and I'm really, really fortunate because I get to do what I love.
That's awesome. Well, speaking of success, your organization and the clients you work for have won many awards and accolades. How do you continue to exceed client expectations?
Well, we definitely keep our eye out for awards, and not only for ourselves, but certainly for our clients. We love to get them in those places where they're getting the accolades and getting the attention they deserve. So that's just one of the perks of being in the PR business, is that you get to work with great people, and if they're really outstanding individuals, they're going to continue to win those awards.
You're considered a media and actually a social media expert. So I have a question for you. Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn? If you could only choose one, which one and why?
All right. Well, you just have to be on Facebook. There are over 1 billion people on Facebook, so I get this question all the time. I think if you can only pick one, it probably would be that one. But the one that I really hold nearest and dearest to my heart is LinkedIn. I think it's an unsung hero among all the big social media platforms. It is awesome for professionals to be on LinkedIn. You will get business if you have a profile on LinkedIn.
That's great to hear. You recently opened an office in Haddonfield, New Jersey. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. What prompted the expansion?
Well, we have been doing business with Haddonfield for many years now, and I've had my eye on opening an office there for some time. I had the pleasure this summer, Joe, to be involved in this program. It's a national program. It's called the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses Program, and it's a highly competitive program to get into, and I was really fortunate to be a part of it this summer. Part of that program is developing an expansion plan or a business development plan, and I put that plan together while I was in that program over the summer. And one of the items that we covered in my development plan was to expand Suasion out of Summers Point and to open an office in Camden County and Haddonfield. And I'm happy to say now we have both offices. One in Atlantic County, one in Camden County, and it's been working very well, and we're looking to expand some more.
What is the one thing, if you could point to one thing that you enjoy most about the work you do? Can you share that with us briefly?
Yeah, it's taking a brand, whether it's already established or if it's just getting going, or a person, and really turning them into a rock star.
Oh, that's great.
That's the really fun part.
I love that. Well, I want to thank you for sharing your view on success, more about your experience, and a lot about what you do at the office every day.
My pleasure, Joe.
That was Susan Adelizy Schmidt, President of Suasion Communication Group in Summers Point, New Jersey, and now a new office in Haddonfield, New Jersey. We'll be right back with more South Jersey business. As you are aware, management, marketing, money, and media are the essential parts of any business and critical when you own and operate a boutique, full-service marketing and public relations agency. You need to know more than just marketing. You need to know something about all 4 M's. So it's time for the M4 Big Money Question. All right, Susan, let's break down those 4Ms. Let's talk a little bit about your management style.
So my management style is definitely a macro style. I like to be able to teach people how to do something and allow them to do it on their own without a lot of micromanagement. I think that that type of style allows people to grow into a position and then take more of a leadership position as well.
Great. So you work with marketing every day, but how do you market your entity? What do you use to market your business?
So for Suasion, I am out in the community all the time. I do a lot of seminars and I teach constantly entrepreneurs, nonprofits, real estate people, how to do everything in terms of marketing or social media and branding. And that's basically how we're able to keep our name out there all the time.
So we're up to the third M. Let's talk a little bit about money. What's your views on the money?
Well, my view is cash flow is it's a good thing. Cash flow is really the most important thing when it comes to looking at money and a business. And you have to plan ahead. You have to do your projections. You have to think about, if you have a cyclical business, if you're going to have, more money in the summer and not so much in the winter, how to plan for all of that.
Well, that's an answer from somebody with experience, and I'm sure that's something that was part of the plan as you grew, but at what point did you realize the importance of that? Was it when you opened the business or as you grew the business that the planning and the cash flow became part of the mix?
Well, I think I was pretty fortunate when I first started. I first took over Smith O'Keefe and rebranded under Suasion. There were hard times then. It was in 2007. It was probably the worst time to start a business. So when you start a business in really lean times, you learn how to plan at a very early stage in the game. So luckily, we've been fortunate and successful over the last 10 years, but I think those lean times in the beginning, because the economy was doing so poorly, definitely made you focus on planning and projections.
Now you deal with media every day. But let's talk about the importance of media today, because it is very important. It deserves its own M category, media. Can you talk a little bit about it?
Well, media is everywhere. It's in your hand while you open up your phone every single minute of the day. So it's ubiquitous. Everyone has access to it. I think because of that, we have more opportunities to push out content. From a business perspective, media outlets are looking for this type of material all the time. So definitely, you want to be more aggressive in getting your content out there and making sure that the media receives it and takes note.
So you have a great balance of the 4Ms. But you also have a life outside of work. You have two wonderful children, a daughter and a son. How do you balance workload with that family life?
Well, I grew up in a family business, so work and family kind of all mixed together when I was a kid, and I think it kind of does the same now. When my kids were younger, I used to bring them into work, and they would kind of do their thing, their homework, whatever, while I was working. So they grew up in that environment. Now they're on their well, they're not on their own yet, but they're getting there. My daughter's 19 and my son is 15, and they're much more independent. We're able to do some functions together, that serve me both, from both perspectives, from a work perspective and a personal perspective. But I definitely make time for just the personal side of things as well. Spend some time with them.
Sounds like you have it balanced. I want to thank you for sharing your views on the 4Ms.
My pleasure.
Thank you. There you have it, Susan Edelizzi Schmidt's boutique mix on the M4 big money question. Sounds like a solid design for success in management, marketing, money, and media. On today's business drill, we will stick with today's theme and discuss a few ways to develop good media relationships in the fast-paced world of media and social media. Having a good relationship is key. Taking inspiration from our guest, an expert on media and media relationships, we would like to share a few basic tips and strategies on ways to build, develop, and maintain media relationships. Identify key media. The best way to do this is to be tuned in to as many local and regional media sources and resources in your area as possible. In other words, pay attention to the radio, local TV, newspapers, and online outlets that have a solid following, and especially those whose audience matches your target market base. Keep a list of both the larger, more established media outlets as well as the smaller and even startup media outlets. Be sure to collect accurate contact information for each person and outlet. Keep that information close for easy access and do your best to keep it current. Make initial contact. After you have your media contact list together, send out an email or connect with each individual on social media for networking. Do not wait until you have some newsworthy information to share. Just connect and introduce yourself and share a little information about your business with the media contact at each media outlet. The key here is to make sure you build some dialogue and a basic business relationship before reaching out about potential stories or getting an event or your business covered by the media. Share good ideas. There are many media outlets today, from traditional print, radio, and television to online newspapers, web-based radio stations, and video streaming across the internet. And of course, all of those media outlets need content. A key to maintaining positive relationships with the media is to be a good resource for the people in the media. This means not only sharing stories and ideas specifically about you and your business, but also sharing good media stories and ideas you have for people, places, and things not related to your business or industry. This simple act of sharing newsworthy or interesting stories goes a long way in developing solid media connections. Respond to media requests. If you want to maintain strong media relationships, do your best to respond quickly to requests from the media. Remember, they are calling or reaching out to you for a reason. Either they have a story they are working on, or they are following up on a story you or someone else may have suggested. If you are unsure what the media may want to discuss, it is more than appropriate to ask them prior to answering the questions. The important thing to do is to connect with media outlet in some way. If you feel you can contribute to the story and it will reflect positively on your business, then schedule a time to speak with the media. As long as you see no real business downside to commenting or speaking to the media, consider it. And it doesn't hurt to develop a media plan for your business just in case the media is calling for a less than positive reason. So there you have it. 4 quick tips for minding media relationships for this week's Business Drill. Having a good community conscience is an important part of building solid business relationships in the region where your customers, friends, and families live. Making a real difference through giving can be part of making a living in business. Here's how this week's guest gets involved to make our communities and region stronger. Rick, the Atlantic County Utilities Authority gets involved with so many organizations and nonprofits throughout our region to provide support and help them when they can. Can you give us some examples of the work you do?
Yeah, there are a number of them. I can't list them all because there really are dozens, but we're particularly connected to the United Way and involved with that. The Women's Center of Atlantic County. Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Atlantic and Cape May County is very special to us, and the Community Food Bank of South Jersey is something I was the chair of the advisory board for a long period of time, and really the Red Cross, very involved in Red Cross and supporting Red Cross of South Jersey, and any number of other ones at the community level that are appropriate to the ACUA's mission, that are tied to either the environment or the health and welfare of children, because we think education is well, we're involved in a lot of schools and supporting their programs at the school level throughout the county.
As long as it's appropriate to the mission of the organization, it makes sense to get involved. So it becomes an extension of the work you're doing. You're helping our communities be better through the waste collection and the recycling and making the community a better place. And those organizations you mentioned, every one of them have a similar mission, but they might be dealing with the human component or the social service component of our community. But I love that that is so clear in your goals.
Well, it's important, and it's filtered to our employees. They feel it, they live it, and on their own, they're interested in contributing. So it's not just a corporate level commitment. It really filters down to all of our staff.
You know what I noticed in the people that I know that work for the organization? Not only do you encourage them, but you applaud their service in the nonprofit world, because I've worked shoulder to shoulder with many of them, and I realize that's the tone that you set at the organization.
Yeah, we encourage everybody to do that as much as they can.
How do you balance it all? You have the work part of work, the social part of work, your volunteer time, and then that all-important family and friends time. How do you find time to balance? How do you balance?
Well, the organization, my board of directors, has been very flexible in letting me, live my life. They know when I'm at work, I'm focused on that, and when I need to spend more time with family and friends, that I'm given the flexibility to do that. So I'm all in when I'm at work, but I'm all in with my family and friends and community. Also, because separate from work-related stuff, I'm involved in other things also.
That's a great way to answer that question and a great way to show the balance. You're all in on one, you're all in on the other. It sounds like a perfect balance. I want to thank you for sharing not only the good works that you do with the organization, but outside the organization in the nonprofit community as well. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. That was Rick Dovey, President of the Atlantic County Utilities Authority. As a proud graduate of Stockton, it is wonderful to meet and speak with so many business people in our region who have a past or a current link to the university as well. Let's plug into a Stockton Community Connection. Eric, we meet many businesses in South Jersey that have a unique connection to Stockton University, and Rich Asset Management is really no different. Can you talk a little bit about the connection that you have with Stockton University?
I attended Stockton, graduated in fall of '94, and soon after I had joined the Alumni Association. Ultimately was on the board for a little while, and then became president of the alumni for 3 years.
How important is that for the business world to meet other alumni and connect with them instantaneously through the Alumni Association?
I think it's really important. I mean, that wasn't my original intent for getting on. I really felt like Stockton was the reason I was successful in business. So I felt obligated to give back. I wanted to, give back to the place that made me who I was. And ultimately, then I realized, events like that are, it's important networking and everything else, and it really helps you as a business owner to be networked into the university.
You know what I noticed though, and this is where you and I really got to know each other, it wasn't just the alumni events you were attending. I saw you at numerous events. It was like every time Stockton had something that was a community benefit or anything connected to the Stockton community, you were there.
Stockton always puts on such great events that you always want to attend them. And then I go through the list of all the things that were coming up, and next thing I know, there's 10 different events in a year that I want to go to and go see, and it keeps me connected to the school, and I want to be a part of it.
Well, speaking of being connected, I understand you're also consulting on one of the programs that are being conducted here at Stockton.
I do. I'm a consultant on the Certified Financial Planner program that the school runs.
What does that entail?
Basically, we just help write curriculum and talk about the new things, new programs that are coming up within the industry itself, and how to roll that out to students so that they're always on the forefront of what's happening.
As a Stockton grad, and I'm also a Stockton grad, class of '90, do you find yourself being approached by people that want to attend Stockton, now Stockton University, of course? Do you find yourself being approached and asking you about the experience that you had at Stockton?
All the time. I get that question probably once a month from people, especially now that we do a lot of the college planning work. But even aside from that, I get a lot of questions about my time here at Stockton and my experience, and would I do it all over again? And obviously the answer is of course, because again, it made me who I am today.
How much do you enjoy that connection when you're in a room and there might be half of the room has a connection to Stockton, or a quarter of the room are Stockton grads? How exciting is that? I know I feel it, but how about you?
It's thrilling. I mean, I love it because Stockton is such a community. So no matter where you are, when you're in a room full of Stockton grads, they all seem to have had the same experience that I had my time here. So it's a natural camaraderie that we all have.
I love it. Thank you very much. That was Eric Rich of Rich Asset Management's Stockton Community Connection. The crew here at South Jersey Business appreciates those of you that tune in and spend some quality time with us. When we receive questions from our viewers, we do our best to respond to your inquiries. So it's time for Q&A. Here's this week's question. Dear South Jersey Business, I own a small retail shop. More and more frequently, every time I train employees, they stay for a few months and then leave for another job. What can I do to keep employees longer? While it's hard to pinpoint the reason employees are leaving your store without more information, there are a few reasons why employees leave. Some of those reasons are: 1, not being happy or satisfied with the type of work environment, or compensation they receive for the work they do. Of course, you do want to examine these things along with your management style, and then hopefully identify the cause of what seems to be a 3-month employment expiration date at your business. 2, revisit your hiring procedures. Perhaps adding questions and discussion points that might give the potential employees a better understanding of what the role, the environment, and the compensation will be could help set a more realistic expectation for all involved. Finally, 3, perhaps figure out some low-cost or even no-cost ways to reward employees for the time of service, or just some random acts of spotlighting the job they are doing when it warrants it. Thanks for reaching out and for continuing to create some employment opportunities in our region. I hope that helps answer your question. We'll be right back. Well, that's the show. We had an informative discussion with Susan Edelizzi Schmidt, president of Swasian Communications Group with offices in Summers Point and Haddonfield, New Jersey. We answered a question and even learned about media relationships during our business drill. Once again, thank you to Stockton University and everyone that makes this program possible. Let's do it again next week. Until then, let's get growing, South Jersey. Thanks for watching.